Where's Batal? He's sleeping? Should we wake him up?
Should I wake him up?
Yeah.
It's not
That's probably Van Thomas, isn't it? It's brought down in Sforim that you shouldn't do that. You should put on the Van Thomas by him,
Oh, yeah?
but you shouldn't delay it. And it's brought down that the Rabbi Thomas tefillin and makpid, they can they have another good effect on the person.
Wow.
That they might, why did you leave me till later and just anyhow?
Wow.
You should put them on Beham Sherecha. Yeah. That's why, well, I don't know if that's the only reason, but many of the Sfardim put them on together. You know?
Right.
And the certain of the great Ashkenazic authorities hold you should also put them on together.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about those who put them on by mincha? There's some people who put them on mincha.
Well, I don't know if that's probably Shimush Rabbi, not Rabbi Thomas. And that's a different thing, because the Arizal used to put on Shimush Rabbi by mincha, It's brought down about the Arizal. Over Rabbi Thomas, I'm not sure, I doubt it. Maybe there's some people who put on Rabbi Thomas for mincha, but it's not known to me what is the basis for that.
Right.
That it should be medactic to put on the tefillin behem shchechet. You shouldn't put it. Eliam Cain, there's some very special oinus, but you just have no bread. You have to go somewhere where you're missing some very important plane or bus or something. Then maybe, yeah. But even then, v'deicha. Yeah. That's the way you treat us.
I just walk away.
Good. In the meantime, we spoke about something important. So now we'll begin. So we're turning in this week's parsha to chapter Tes. And Pasik let's say Pasik Yud. All right, let's say chapter Yud. Chapter Yud, Pasik Aleph.
Okay.
The first Pasik. We could bring one or two possible. So I try to avoid dealing with a portion that you guys haven't done in Chittas yet, but this is short to Shishi.
Okay.
But however, it's a well-known passage, and that is it's well known that Lot was Nikshal in Shikras. He had a good kavanah. According to the Gedele Kabbalah, he wanted to be matakin the Chet of Adam Arizon mitamet. But unfortunately, he wasn't successful, and he got shikar from the wine. And then later, in next week's parsha with his daughter, there's also similar. In other words, it appears he had a certain, what we might call in inverted commas, weakness for wine. And that's the source of a tremendous amount of Musa in Yiddishkeit over the generations. against the whole idea of shikras, of drunkenness. And even in Lubavitch, oddly enough, it's not held to be a good thing, shikras. And those who know anything about the Pnimis Ainyan know that shikras is not on, only for maybe great mashpiyim or something of that nature. Anyway, a lot is like the traditional dogma of somebody who was nikshal, you know. The Indian of shikras didn't prove, it didn't bring good results.
Light? Noyach or light? Noyach or light? Light or noyach?
Lot.
Lot?
I'm sorry.
Noyach, noyach.
Noyach, yeah.
Okay.
Noyach, not Lot. So I'm sorry, Noyach. It didn't bring good results. And the Gemara in Kama Makemas is very mahmir beneged to shikras of any sort, no matter whether it be yain or other mashkois. But anyway, that's not the purpose of this, and it's not a good thing that young boys and young people in Moisdas are sort of given the feeling that, you know, you can just you can take drink. It's not right. It's very improper. Not right. And I was there when the Rabbi spoke against it. And the Rabbi came out with the gezerah against the mashke. And it was, sure, it's just fire. So it's such an unbelievable take. Anyway, let's get to our subject. So we have to realize that after the Mabul, Noah and his family came out into what you might call a deserted world, you know, into a whole new beginning, like a whole new start. And the whole human race, as we know it, was like rebuilt and reestablished by Noah and his sons. So, therefore, it would appear correct to say that anything they did was of tremendous significance, because they're like the beginners and what you might call the pace setters for the whole of mankind after that. So we see that Noah had 3 sons, right? And it's written at the first positive chapter, Yud, Ve'ela Turles B'nei Noach, Shem, Chom, Ve'yofez. Vayivoldu lehem bonim achar hamabul. Well, these 3 sons of Noach, they had sons after the Mabul, and it was from that all the Goyim developed and spread throughout the whole world. So it's interesting to be misbreinen, you know, about these 3 sons of Noah. They're like the foundation of the whole development of what we know to be the human race. And in order to sort of understand what I'm trying to get at, is we have to deal with a certain principle, and that is brought down in Zohar HaKodesh in a certain place, and it's brought down. The Alter Rebbe mentions that in Tanya Perik Mem, in the first Hagor, there are 2 or 3 Hagors or more in Perik Mem, but in the first Hagor, and that is that anything you do in this world has an effect, Lamaila. It's like it becomes copied, Lamaila. Whatever you do, Chol Milah, and that doesn't mean just what you speak, but whatever you do or say, it all gets how would you call it, like a massive video machine that is always examining what you're doing and taking note of it, and it becomes like implanted Lamaila. And on every action, there's a judgment: is that good or is it not good? And if it's good, then Hashem gives down a very positive hashra. The Alter Rebbe refers to this, but he just says you should look it up. He doesn't bring it in detail. But it's important for something he says over there, but this is not a Shiur in Tanya, so I'm not going to go into how it relates to Perek Mem. But the point is that if you do something negative, not good, then Hashem gives down something negative. And so the Zohar Kodesh says, but Hashem, there's no bad by Hashem, chas v'sholom. He doesn't give bad, there's no bad. And like the Pasuk has it in the Eicho, the Ein Ra, Yered Milmaila, there's nothing evil comes. Evil is all due to us, yeah. And yet, nonetheless, the Zohar Kodesh says that if you do something not good or not positive, even though it appears to you to be, just of no importance, yeah, a divine influence of negativity is sent down upon you by the heavenly court under Hashem's judgment. So the Zohar says, how does that happen? So it appears that the implication that the Zohar HaKodesh is that Hashem goes against his own principle. No. He does hatred of what is normally applicable, Lamaila. There's no evil, Lamaila. But if you do evil, you force Hashem, as it were, to feed you back evil. Yeah. Even if it's, not terribly evil, like if it's worth. But even if it's not good, then he feeds you back a feedback into your life according to that. Oh. Yeah, it's very. When I read that portion of the Zohar Kodesh, I had to call it. I don't know if I fell off my chair, but I got a very severe clap, in my from reading that piece of Zohar. It's written that one is dependent in the other. What you do, Hashem has, as it were, fixed the Seder that he has no prayer. In other words, that the whole way that life functions is that there's immediate divine reaction to whatever you do, based on what you do, and you get, as it were, apart from Oina. We're not talking about Oinesh. Oinesh is a separate thing. There's all different sorts of Oinesh. We're talking about like a ruach of, not good settles on you. But if you did a good thing, then Hashem sends down a presence like of divinity and positivity upon you. That's what's written over there in the Zohar. And it's not just in one place, it's much more in other places. But if you say a Dvar Torah, if you say some Divrei Torah, that goes up also, even if you didn't say it Lishmo. Yeah, even if you sort of meant it just stump you, but it goes up immediately and it's not judged. It automatically produces a positive effect if it's a Dvar Torah. Yeah. There's a whole readers about that. I don't want to get involved in that, but what I'm trying to say is that we see that even what appear to be trivial issues or things that don't seem to have a tremendous mashmoyes, ordinary everyday things. It could be you're sitting in your own house, or who knows what you're doing, and yet it could be you're having a whole effect on how things are, Lamaila, and how they're affecting you. Yeah? And so from that, we can derive, it's well known. And there was once, we always tell a miser, so there was once a famous shliach that he became a very leading shliach in a city in the world, that he asked the Rabbi in Yechidus before he was told by the Rabbi to go out there and become, it was in the early years, and he said, Rabbi, you know, he's just an ordinary guy, you know, he's not a, and in the yeshiva he wasn't one of the big, you know, adequate lomdim and masmidim, and how people going to have any, how will they relate to him, you know, and if he's going to be like a Rav or something like that, he's going to have people will take him seriously. So you know what the Rabbi said to him? The Rabbi said that you must always smile, you must always be positive. Wherever you go, you must always smile to people and be, you know, very, very positive. Even if they are coming at you with something negative, you have to feed back only positive. Good humor and positivity. And so the Rabbi said, hey, for example, you know, you go into the mikveh in the morning, in the mikveh you can't talk very much, you know. So he said, you meet up with somebody, smile at him. The Rabbi said, give him a nice smile. You know? And he said, with that, people will have derech for you. They will gradually accept you as a very leading and, how do you call it, elevated member of their whole environment. Yeah. And so it's based on a Zohar HaKodesh. There's another Zohar HaKodesh in Pasuk Tetzaveh, which says that if you smile, they smile on you from above. Yeah, that above in heaven they look down on you positively, and they, as it were, accept you in a smiling way. But if you're bruised and you've got a bad face and you're not nice to people, then that's the way they react, Lamaila. And so if you're angry and not nice, that brings down on you, that they look at you that way, Milamaila. Yeah. So the feet goes there, so that's what the Rabbi said. The Rabbi was basing himself on a Mefurish Zoya. So from that we see that everything we do is not lost. Everything we do has a mashmor. And particularly since we are bonim atem l'Hashem Elokechem, you know, where there's to use the expression, the chosen people, we are the Ika Nakuda of the whole Bria, then it's much more, you know. Hashem watches it, you know, there's like this video, unbelievable video, you know, had to got this, camera, which is all the time, you know, recording what is going on. Very, very remarkably pointed, Benegat to Yidden. And everything a Yid says, or everything he does, is of importance, you follow? So, from that it follows that anything that anybody does, if he's a Yid, and probably even to a certain extent the non-Jew, under whatever will be the measurements of the type of demands that we have on them, that's another level of discussion. However, from that we see that there's no stam, as they call it in Yiddish, glatt in the Welt doesn't exist. You know, just stam in any old hell. There's no such thing. Here we have that the whole world has been destroyed by the Mabul. And we get three guys, and they're the sons of Noah. So they're starting off the whole human race all over again. So it follows, Lefise, that anything that they will do, must have some sort of a guiding effect and a very powerful effect on all the generations to come. And especially since the camera Melamayla is functioning doubtless on them very, very remarkably, because they're starting off the whole business all over again. Yeah? So Hashem is particularly paying attention to what they're up to. So let's examine these three sons, you follow? And what sort of happens with them, and what, is the result of their actions shortly after they come out of the Teva. What all this happened, Noach's shikras occurred, pretty soon after the Yetziah Mea Teva. Let's see how these three people, how they sort of set a certain tone for everything that's going to be B'Mesher to history. When Noach got shikar from the wine, unfortunately, certain events that occurred, cases that weren't very tznistic, they weren't very nice. He got a bit uncovered, and he got a bit, he sort of fell heavily affected by the wine. So, it's written that the youngest son, by the way, it's very interesting, but that's not the purpose of the class, that the Torah doesn't mention them according to what it caused to be a Seder. Because Shem, Cham, Yov is not according to the Seder. Yov was really the big one, he was the eldest, and Cham was the youngest, and Shem was like in the middle. But yet, nonetheless, we find that they're mentioned in that Seder, but that's another issue, which I'm not going into that. Of Cham, he happens to be there because this happens, right? And so it's written that he saw his father's Vayar, Cham, that's written that he saw a few psukim before that. That's written Vayar Cham, Posik Kof Beis in Tes. Vayar Chom Avichnan es Ervas Aviv. He saw what he shouldn't have seen, Shumaven, and Vayaged, he went out and he told his brothers, Bechutz. So Rashi says it wasn't just them that he saw, but he took an action which is, it's almost impossible to get it out in the speech, what he did, you follow? And I don't think there's any need to go into that. But he did a very terrible, drastic thing to his father. And then he went out and he told the brothers. So the brothers are Shem and Yofis. So what happened with them is they came in and they tried to cover their father with a sheet or a blanket. And it's written that they did it in a very, as much as they could, tznias stick away, and they held the sheet and they turned their faces away and they moved with the sheet in a way they didn't actually look. But we're soon going to see there's a very interesting deal vinegar to how that was done. A very, what Rashi brings it down. They tried to act in a way that would be, very acceptable according to simple values of tznius and koved to their father. However, Knan not. I had to call him Cham, not. So, what did Knan do? He saw, and then he went and told. Now, saw is with the eyes, and told is with the mouth. Now, when Noach realized what had happened, after he woke up from the wine and everything, he realized what had happened. So what did he do, Noach? He cursed Ham. But he cursed him with a son of his. He cursed him bigger with Canaan. And Canaan was his fourth son. He wasn't his, he was a, how do you call it, a descendant, yeah. And he said, you are going to be a slave, you're going to be a eved to your brothers. For all the generations to come, you're going to be a eved. You follow? And he repeats it twice. And so what happened is that Canaan, who was the son of Ham, he becomes a eved, and all of his generations and all of his descendants, they all become, avodim. They all become avodim. So if we look in the Torah, there's a very interesting, shalom. If we look in the Torah, there's a very interesting din that if a Yid buys a Eved Knani, which if he wants a Eved, that's much more preferable, he can also buy a Eved Ivri. But the Gemara says that if he buys a Eved Ivri, then he buys like a boss to his life, because there's so many different things that he's chayav to the Eved. He's got to be careful with it, and so on. But Eved Knani is much simpler. So it's written over there in the Hemshech Parsha Mishpatim, not at the beginning, but later, that if the owner of the Eved hits the eye of one eye is enough, he hits the eye of his Eved Knani, and he ruins the eye, and the guy loses the side of his eye, then he goes out. With that, he doesn't need a get or anything. He automatically becomes freed from the state of the abdus, of the enslavement to his master, and he goes free. Or another possibility, if he takes out he gives him a sock, a hit, and he breaks one of his teeth or causes one of his teeth to fall out. You follow? Yeah, he gives him a biff in a way that, one of his teeth come out. If he does that, then also the Eved goes out and becomes free. So come along, a great Rishonim over there in Shmoyes, very early, the Rabbeinu Bechayah and others, the Asakenim and others, and they say a very interesting thing. And they say, how did the whole inyan of Avdas with the Eved Kanani, how did it all start off? It all started off from Ham. He was the father of Canaan. Right. And what did he do? He saw with his eyes, and then he went out and he told his brothers, In other words, the telling itself was also not in a way that it should be done. He sinned with his eye and with his mouth. Yet therefore, if his balabos damages seriously in a way that he loses his eye or part of his mouth, then he's no longer mechuyev to be an eved. He's like being damaged in the source of the whole thing. He doesn't got his orange already. That's what they say. Abamela, because of the curse that was given to him by Noah, if he loses his eye or his teeth, he becomes. So the Rabbeinu Bechayah says, L'choyre, he sinned with both of them. So we should have to have that he knocks an eye out and also knocks a tooth out, that he knocks out both of them in order to free him of it. You follow? So he said that's a special Rachmanas, what Hashem had. That's the inner midas of Rachamim. But toch hadin, that Hashem had Rachmanas, that Kachazeh Dago, Shalakodesh Baruch Hu, l'rachim al habriyas, well, mitzad midas harachamim, he made the one is enough to free him. Of a be'emes, lamite, he should have to have both, because he is somewhat both. So here we see a very amazing thing. We see that as history went on,